Divine ones, how are you guys on this beautiful Sunday? I'm doing well. I hope that you all are, and if you're not, that you're getting to a place where you can feel better, where you can feel good about your life, where you can feel good about yourself, where you can feel good about the choices that you are making, where you can feel good about the choices that you have made, and where you can feel good about the choices that you are planning to make. But I hope that your Sunday is going well. Mine is going well. Having a good day. It's raining where I am. I'm enjoying the rain. I'm in my car. I'm actually going to hang out here a bit and just get some work done. I'm just going to hang out in the back of my truck. Y'all know I like to do that sometimes. So, I'm going to do that for a bit. I wish I had some snacks. Y'all know I'm always thinking about food. And it's not like an unhealthy obsession or anything. It's just that like I said, I've told y'all before, I'm such a foodie. So I'm looking forward to the month of October so that, I can celebrate Halloween and watch my scary movies and have my snacks. That's really all I do. I have my snacks and then I just watch a scary movie, every day the month of October. But I'm actually also looking forward to the end of August because I'll get to celebrate my son's solar return with him. He's going to be officially an adult. So he's not looking forward to that. I'm not either because I know the time is dwindling down to where he is planning to or will be making arrangements to venture out on his own journey. And Mama will be left alone by herself. I will be alone by myself. There will be no one in my home but me. And he said, well, why don't you just get a pet? And I'm like, I don't want a pet because I had a pet. We had a pet, rather. We've had a couple of pets. And, it's like when they pass away, it's so sad. It's heartbreaking. I get too attached. And it's like, I'm not trying to deal with that. I'm not trying to deal with any more heartbreak if I can help it. So if I can be in control, and I know we're not in control of anything, but I'm going to be in control of that. Look, I'm not buying any pets. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not getting any animals. I will enjoy animals outside in nature and take them on as my adopted pets. But I am not getting a pet and then caring for it every day just for it to grow old and die on me. No. So my heart can be broken. No thanks. But if nobody's told you today that you are amazing, that you are worthy, that your existence is necessary, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't be here, right? Remember that. If God didn't need you here, you wouldn't be here. So, irregardless of what people say, you are needed. You have a purpose, no matter if you know what it is or not. And my hope for you is that you see your worth, that you see how lovely and beautiful and gorgeous and worthy that you are, that you see that you are purposeful, and that your life has meaning and has purpose. Irregardless, again, of what somebody says, the dark ones are always going to tell you that you have no purpose, that you are worthless, especially if you don't do anything for them, or you have cut ties and you have set boundaries and cut cords. And you said, look, I'm not going to let you come into my life and dictate my life anymore. I'm not going to tell you where I can. I'm not going to allow you to tell me where I can and cannot go, where I can, what I can and cannot do, who I can and cannot be, who I can and cannot entertain as friends, entertain as far as my family members, my loved ones. I'm not about to let you do that. And then on top of that, I'm not going to let you tell me who I am because you're trying to convince me of someone that I'm not. That's what they do. That's what they do. So, be careful. Once you learn the enemy's moves, which are very repetitive and redundant, by the way, they are nothing to fear. They just try to make you fear them so that you can be under their control. Don't do that. Don't. Been there, don't do it. But for those of you that are in the middle of these situations and you're waking up to what you're in the midst of, I hope that you have the courage and the strength to escape and that you realize how beautiful your life can be, and that life has so much more to offer you if you just wake up and you'll open your eyes and allow yourself to see really what the world really is, and not see it for the not see it for what the matrix is casting an illusion, making you believe the world to be, which is an effed up place, a place where, it's just work, 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 slave, 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 do this, do that, can't never do what I want to do because I don't have enough, and I'm not enough, and I'll never have that, and I can never have that, and no, I mean, that's exactly, if you think like that, 554, as I'm saying this, if you think like that, the enemy, unfortunately, I hate to break it to you, has you exactly where it wants you. It has you exactly where it wants you. So now that you know this, now that you know that it has you exactly where it wants you because I'm telling you, or maybe you have figured it out before I told you, then now it's time to make a decision. Now it's time to make a decision. Do you want to continue to live your life for the enemy or enemies, or do you want to begin to live your life for yourself? Because if you are not living your life from a place where you are beginning to nourish your soul, not your flesh, or you are beginning to nourish your soul, if you are not living your life from that place of soul nourishment, you're not living. You're just existing. So it is a hard pill to swallow. When my life blew up, my life has blown up many times in my life throughout my journey. So many times I have lost count. But the last blow up was when I was about 41 or 42. I'm going to say 41 because what was that, in the year 2022? And it was like I got this nudge. I was like, I got to get out. And I actually took the steps, and I was about to buy me some property, which fell through the cracks because of it just wasn't the time, it wasn't the right location, it wasn't the right opportunity, it just wasn't. And I was trying to force it. Sorry y'all, I messed with my keys. I'm such a fiddler, I apologize. I think it's just PTSD, man. I'm telling you, of just spiritual warfare. It just, but I'm getting through it. And I just, people that have like those fidget spinners and, autistic, individuals, my theory on that is we're all autistic. It's just different levels to it. And when I used to work with autistic children, I saw myself in those kids, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. It really is not. It is a beautiful thing. It's just different levels to it, different spectrums. And those kids were so beautiful. Oh my God, they were so beautiful and amazing. And even the ones that could, I know this is off topic, and even the ones that could not verbalize, they found a way, they had their way to communicate. And it was just so amazing. I miss working with autistic kids. I wish that I could do it again. But the way that they got the whole program set up through the state and how they do their things, I don't agree with it. I don't like ABA. I could not stand ABA. So that part of it. But working with the kids, my heart, it's just, I love kids. They're just such innocent creatures. They're the closest things to God, and just the things that they communicate, the messages that they communicate rather. It's just mind blowing. But anyway, my life blew. Yeah, I was about, so like I said, the property that I was about to purchase, wrong location, wrong time, wrong company. I got approved for, a loan to buy my own home. And I was so proud of that. Because, that was the first time that I had been able to do something like that. I was 41 years old. And I was so excited. And I told my aunt everything about it. I drove to her house. I told her about it. I think I had to meet her for something anyway. But I was so excited. And, it was also me telling her, without telling her, that, my marriage had ended and that I was about to go off on my own and start my life anew once again. And I have had so many new beginnings, so many blow-ups, so many deaths and rebirths in my life. Like I said, I don't have enough fingers to count. And here I am, still standing in front of you guys. Still alive and kicking, still strong, with my mental faculties intact. But when I realized that my life blew up, I was 41 years old. I knew that my marriage was over. I had gotten confirmation after confirmation over the 8-year period that, the entire time, that it just wasn't going to work. But I was forcing a shoe to fit on a foot that was way too big for the shoe. And I said the foot was way too big for the shoe because the shoe was too small. Because I was settling for less. So the shoe was too small for these big, beautiful feet that wanted to venture out into the entire world. Like, I want to see as much of the world as I can. And yes, I traveled one time within this marital arrangement. Because, it was just a spiritual arrangement. I did not sign any documents and, change my last name or anything like that. It was a spiritual ceremony, and I liked it that way because it made things so much less complicated when it ended, because that person would have brought hell on me or made hell for me leaving it, because I was dealing with a narcissistic individual. And I know that term gets thrown around a lot, but when you know, you know. I definitely was dealing with a narcissist. Most divine beings, we come in contact with narcissistic individuals. I was going to say something else, but we come in contact with narcissists. It's like we have a contract with them, and we've had previous soul contracts with them. It's like they are definitely the ones that will teach us, that will push us in however way we need to be pushed, because they teach the toughest and the harshest of lessons. They do, because of their ways. And, I learned my lesson definitely from it. And it pushed me in the direction that I definitely needed to go. But like I said, when my life blew up, I knew that my marriage was over. I knew that the life that I created on a false foundation had surely crumbled. And the child involved, which was mine, suffered a great deal, just as much as I did. If not more, because he was a child, an innocent soul brought into a situation that he had no business being brought into. But due to his mom needing to learn some lessons, due to her particular contract that she had signed before she got here into this realm. But I realized that the job that I was working was not gonna work, that I was gonna have to find another job that was gonna be able to support myself and my son and our new living arrangement, our new living situation, because I was going to have to move, and I did. Found a new place, a place that I actually liked, but I was renting, and I was really upset about that, because I was like, I was dead set on purchasing property, because I knew that I had the support, financial support, with the lender that I was working with to be able to do so. My credit was great at that time. It was excellent at that time. So, I had everything lined up in order to be able to have purchased something, but I didn't have access to my funds because I had put them with the person that I was with, and they kept everything. So that put me in a situation where I had very little to work with, and what I had to work with was just enough to find something to rent. And unfortunately, during that time, after I rented my place and things got shaky because of employment just wasn't stable, because of job after job after job, issue on this job, issue on that job. No matter what job I went to, there was an issue. There was an issue with just maintaining stability, because they would bump heads with a manager or just whatever. I don't know how many of you all have experienced this along your path, where you find a job and you're like, oh, I finally got a job for 8 as I'm saying this. I finally got a job where, it's paying me enough and I'll be able to save. And, as soon as you get to the point where you're saving, here comes the problem. Here comes the person or people or the manager or boss that's starting issues with you for no reason. For no reason at all. You know what I mean? You coming to work on time, you come to work every day, you're doing what they're asking you to do, which is your job, yet and still there is a problem. The minute you are gaining traction to save and to do what you need to do, here come the ops. Here comes the ops raising all this hell, that is bringing this distraction. And here we go. Now it seems, okay, we gotta go find something else. And it's just like been a vicious cycle throughout my life. And that's why I said right now, that's why I'm making the changes so that this comes to a cease. It becomes null and void so that I no longer have a problem with it. And that I am my own boss and I run the show and I say what goes and I don't have anybody over my head dictating what I do, micromanaging, even when I'm doing my job, even when I'm there on time, even when I'm there every day. I'm doing exactly what I'm being asked to do. Yet there is still a problem. I won't have to worry about that when I come into my own and I become my own member of my company and I am running things myself and I am doing things the way that I want to do things and I'm actually loving what I do and I'm happy on my job. That is what I'm creating right now at this time. And it's like, it's been something that I've been needing to do, but now is the time because I have the wisdom, I have the know-how, I'm doing the proper research, I'm gaining the proper understanding, I'm taking the proper steps, I'm asking, I feel like, the right questions, I'm asking the wrong questions, so I'm doing what's necessary. 1709 as I'm saying this, I don't know if you guys are seeing that angelic number. I saw that earlier when I was recording earlier and had to stop the video because it started raining and I needed to put the windows up, but I accidentally pressed stop instead of pause to continue the video. But anyway, I digress. My life blew up, and my life blew up for a reason, and it blew up because what seemed to have been working wasn't, and it was time to take everything apart. It was time for everything to be dismantled, to be taken apart, so that I could figure out and pinpoint within those pieces that were taken apart, that were destroyed, what was wrong and what was faulty that didn't allow things to stay together, that would have needed to have been the strong foundation in order for it to have worked. So by taking everything apart, I was able to see that I had chosen the wrong partner because this person appeared to be everything that I needed, but I realized that I was seeking a partner because I wanted love, but didn't love myself. And that is where I made the mistake. I should have loved myself first in order to have called in the right person. And if I had loved myself first, in order to have energetically called in the right person and to let universe know, universe, I'm ready for the right person. You know why? Because I love myself. And I didn't let the universe know that because I didn't love myself first. I was expecting this person to fill a void, to love me where in places and in ways where I didn't even love myself. And they quickly showed me that no, I'm not going to love you because you're supposed to do that for yourself. And they showed me every year in their actions, in their behavior, that they didn't love me. Again, because I didn't love myself. I was supposed to love myself. So that is why the relationship failed. And the life that we built, of course, followed suit and fell apart because we built it together. And I was never supposed to have built with that person. I was supposed to have built with myself first. I was on the right track when I was looking to purchase, my own property and everything so that I could begin my healing process and build by myself. But I still was making the wrong moves. I still was going about it wrong, which meant that I still hadn't learned my lesson. So that's why all of that didn't work out. And I saw that a little while after I made that choice, but I still didn't see it in totality the way that I do now, or the way that I did a little while ago. I'm not just seeing that now. I've seen that a little while ago. But in my relationship with my son, it needed to be in a better place. And in order for it to have been in a better place, I needed to take accountability in where I went wrong. When it came to, how I was taking our relationship and our connection and our bond for granted by introducing him to that individual who was not a good fit for him, and definitely it just wasn't a good fit for the both of us. But, I sacrificed our relationship, my son and I, because, I wanted to be loved by someone else, when I should have been taking the time to see the errors of my ways, do my healing work, do my shadow work, so that I could become a better person for myself first, so that I could also become a better person for my kid. And, like I said, none of that started taking place until 2023. And I'm just glad that it finally did, but that was after my life blew up. And I realized that I chose the wrong partner. I chose the wrong person for my son. The person that I chose to be his father figure, I chose the wrong person. Many of us have made that mistake. And, again, he suffered a great deal because of it. And I had to admit to my son where I went wrong. I had to take full accountability for that. And that is when and where our relationship started to mend, is when I took full accountability and where I made the mistake in choosing the wrong partner, in turn, the wrong person or supposed father figure for him. Was looking for a replacement, because his biological father decided that he didn't want to be a part of either one of our lives, because I decided I did not want to continue a relationship with him. So that is how that whole connection ended. But again, that person was not treating me right, so why would I have stayed and subjected our unborn child to his behavior, and his treatment? 232 as I'm saying this. But, when my life blew up, it allowed me to see so much with myself that were issues. It allowed me to create that was the beginning, and where I created I guess what I'm trying to say is, when my life blew up, that was the beginning. Those were the beginning stages of when I started working on my initial healing list, is what I'm trying to say. And like I said, that is when I started writing down everything that was wrong, because I got tired of living a lie. I got tired of living a lie. I couldn't do it anymore. I had just grown so tired of being somebody that I was not. And I could not properly raise my son and educate him on becoming the young man that he needed to be for himself, truly and honestly, if I wasn't truly, honestly being who I needed to be for my own self. So I learned a lot when my life blew up. And it revealed so much. But also it was so devastating. It was so devastating. I mean, can you imagine? You know, everything is and materially everything is working. But, you know, you're like, man, you know, I have everything I need. I have a roof over my head, my son and I, you know, I have the finances, you know, everything is good with that. You know, I have a job, I'm working, you know, everything is cool with that. I have, you know, my life partner, and we're working together in most aspects. But it's just like this, still something missing. And the something missing was, you know, I was questioning my existence. Why, you know, I was here to begin with, because I felt like something huge was missing from my life. You know, and what was missing was my purpose, you know, why I was put here in the first place. And although I didn't know what that was at that time, I just knew, even though I didn't know my purpose and what it was, I just knew that there was something huge that was missing from my life. 644 as I'm saying this. Something huge, like my life I just felt like it was supposed to have more meaning. Like, you know, it couldn't have been all to my life that it was just supposed to be me just working and just going home and cooking and cleaning and spending a little time with my kid and spending a little time with my partner at the time. And, you know, I wasn't really giving much to myself, but that started changing, I would say, in the year of 2022. I started doing more for myself. It just kind of came out of nowhere. I was like, you know, I'm gonna start celebrating myself more. I'm gonna start doing you know, stuff for myself more. And actually, that was his idea. When I say his, my past person who I was with at the time, that was his idea now, for me to do, you know, more for myself, to take time for myself, to take a day off. You know, he would always tell me that. So, I mean, the person wasn't all bad. And I'm not trying to make this person out to be all bad, because they were not. And I'm not trying to paint them out to be in such a negative light. I'm not. I learned good from this person, but I also learned some harsh things from the person too. And I mean, that's what karmic relationships teach us. That's what karmic connections teach us. They teach us both the good and the bad, you know, and I took both from it. So this person used to tell me that, you know, you really need to, you know, take a day off. You don't always have to do things for us, me, us, him, and, you know, my son, you know, take time for you. And I started implementing that in the year 2022. But I don't know, I just kept feeling like, man, it's supposed to be more to my life, you know. My life is just so mundane. Like, you know, we traveled once or twice in the 8-year period that we were together, and I was like, it's got to be more to it, because I was like, I want to travel more, you know. I want to even travel alone, you know, so that I can learn more about myself and indulge in life experiences, you know, on my own, and meet new people and share new experiences with people. And, you know, I want to travel with my son. I want us to do things more. I don't know, it just felt like it was supposed to be more, and I just wanted more. And it just wasn't that. And I just kept feeling like, man, it's supposed to be more to my life. I'm supposed to be doing more. I'm supposed to be doing more than what I'm doing. What am I doing? What am I doing? So that, you know, like I said, when my life blew up, it just, it shed so much light on the mistakes I was making, the mistakes I made. And I was starting to see that I wanted more, that I desired more. But because I was starting to see that I wanted more and desired more, I realized that I had to drop that life and leave it behind. Because, you know, first of all, like I said, it was not healthy for me or my son. And I know I was beginning to recognize that we deserved more and that we deserved better, and we deserved more. So I'm gonna leave it here, guys. I know I've talked for half an hour. I've talked quite a bit. I just wanted to talk about, when I realized the moment my life blew up, what it showed me. It showed me that, I wanted more out of my life, and that I didn't need to continue to settle, even though I had everything I needed, even though I wanted, even though materially, but I didn't have what I needed emotionally. I didn't have what I needed spiritually. I didn't have what I needed mentally, and I didn't have what I needed mentally because I didn't have what I needed spiritually. I didn't have what I needed emotionally, and that's what I was lacking. I wasn't giving myself what I needed. I wasn't giving myself permission to live. I wasn't giving myself permission to live. There was this air of control that needed to be removed. And I wasn't the one that was controlling. I was allowing someone else to come in and do that. I was allowing someone else to come in and dictate what I should be doing, when I should be doing, where I should be going, in my every move, like I was a puppet. So like I said, I had to cut the puppet strings and begin to live my life, and that's exactly what I started doing in 2023, and I haven't looked back since. And it was one of the best decisions I could have made with my life. So I'm glad that my life blew up. And it'll probably blow up again. It actually is blowing up right now. It's blowing up right now. But, like I said, I'm taking the steps every day to get things, in order so that things can come together in the way that I need it to, so that I can begin to start living my best life. I always tell you that, guys, that I'm taking the steps every day so that I can live my best life. And right now, I'm just working a job, that is taking care of the bills, but I am working on becoming my own boss. And this is a first for me. I'm loving myself more and more every day, and taking back the control of my life every day. And this is a first for me. I am eating properly so that I can heal myself and my health fully, so that I can have the energy that I need, so that my brain can work better. I'm dealing with so much brain fog because of the choices that I've made in the past to not eat the best, and the choices I've made in the past to keep connections that, were traumatic for me, that caused damage to my mental, that also added to the brain fog. So as I am coming out of the last residuals of spiritual warfare and the fog of the storms that are finally clearing up in my life, I can, for once in my life, finally say that I am about to open a door that will lead me to a love I've never known in all aspects of my life. A doorway that will reveal so much joy, so much peace, so much beauty, so much fun, so much adventure, so much of everything I've never experienced before that I've always wanted to experience. 424, as I said that. I'm done. I'm ended here, guys. I've got some work to do. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. I might go to the store, fix me a little special meal today, but within reason. And it's going to be within my eating lifestyle. So I'm not going to be eating anything that I shouldn't, so I can continue to heal my brain fog. But I send you all so much love, light, and healing on your healing journeys. As we heal and grow together, I hope that you all continue to give yourselves the patience that you need to continue to give yourselves the time that you need to continue to give yourselves the love you need, and that you indulge in some self-care too. And it could be maybe fix your special meal. And even if it's not the healthiest, if it makes you happy and if it's just for today, but you eat healthy the rest of the week and you hydrate and you get your rest, then beautiful. But do something special for yourself today. Do something for you to prove that you love yourself. That's all that I ask. All right, guys. I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow. And if not, I'll see you guys very soon. Love, peace, and grace.